Books a Million had it early. So I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to do this review a little bit different than I did Volume 5. I'm going to give my general thoughts up front, and then I'm going to go real in depth later on in the video with spoilers and everything. So just for people that don't want to be spoiled, I'll tell you, my face will come up and it'll be like, spoilers coming. Click off the video. But I'm just going to give my general thoughts and then we'll get into the spoilers. I cannot believe Books a Million had this early. It's. I saw it and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely picking it up. I canceled my order on Amazon. I said, perfect. This works out. And like almost a week early. They might have had Tuesday, but I was just there Wednesday looking for other things. Should I even give an overview of Chainsaw Man at this point before I get into the review? I feel like people know what Chainsaw Man is. I'll give a quick, super quick, dingy, horrible life. Met a chainsaw demon little pig thing, and that pig, the chainsaw, gave up his life and made Dingy a chainsaw man, and now he works with a bunch of other fiends and people with special abilities to hunt down this gun demon. It's as wild as you think it is. It's if you've never heard it before and you're like, what? It's wild. All right, so Volume 6. We left off. Dingy was getting tricked by Reze. That's how I'm going to pronounce Reze. Like, I feel like Reze is a good. So it picks up immediately. The first chapter in this volume picks up immediately. And surprise, surprise, no one saw this coming. Well, that would be spoilers. Wait till later on in the video and we'll get into it. Man, how am I going to do this without spoiling what happens? Oh no. This volume is action packed. It is a gigantic battle. Pretty much the entire volume. But what I really like about it is it did the giant battle thing for, I'm going to say 75%. It's this battle. But then the last two chapters hit you with some emotions that I did not expect coming. And you actually see Dingy grow substantially with his characters, from his character in the past. And I just thought that it was done perfectly. Like, it gave you this shonen action, just no holds barred. And you want to talk about gruesome and bloody? Spoilers, I guess. People get exploded in this volume, and it is some of the craziest art, like action art, that I've ever seen. Legitimately. And the way that they do gore and all that is perfect. But not only does Dingy's character arc grow a lot in this volume, actually Beam and Angel Devil, they have some moments in this volume where they were kind of, I wouldn't even consider them, they were side characters, but like they were somewhat interesting side characters. Those two shine so much in this volume that you start actually caring about them. And it used to be like Power, Aki, Makama, is that how I'm going to pronounce it? Probably butchering that. And Dingy were like the characters that you cared about, and it was written for you to care about those characters. But now they are expanding their roster of characters and doing things to make you care for, instead of the main four, like the world and the characters that inhabit it. They're making you care about side characters that you thought you never would. And I just thought it was fantastic. The action in this volume and the art and the way that he does it, there is some absurd stuff action wise it has in this volume. A little bit of a spoiler, so just a tiny bit. He rides something. That's right. Now you're thinking, what? He rides something. You'll know when you read it. You'll know. It's so tough not to spoil stuff. But overarching, before we get into spoilers, this is not a setup volume. that I feel like volume 5 was kind of like a setup volume. This is the action payoff volume. And not only does it do action, it hits you with the last 2 chapters of some emotion, and it poses a question about a character that I cannot wait to see the payoff for. I mean, listen, if you're already invested in Chainsaw Man, you're gonna buy this volume, and I think it's one of the strongest out of the 6 that have been released. It is one of the strongest volumes that they have. I would put it in top 2 of strongest volumes that they have. This is your spoiler warning. It's going to be no holds bar now. If you're clicking off the video, I appreciate you watching the video. Please think about subscribing, leaving a comment, talking about how cool Chainsaw Man is. Or once you read it, come back, watch the rest of it, and then let's talk about it in the comments, because this was exciting. But yes, thank you for watching. Now let's get to the spoilers. I wrote notes. We're about to get serious. Let's get into it. So the first chapter, Denji, it picks up exactly where Volume 5 stopped. And Reze and Denji are on that roof, and she's saying, please run away with me. And he's like, no, I'm finally kind of finding a place where I belong. Like, he actually grows at that point. And you can kind of see how he's like, I'm learning how to get along with people that I shouldn't even like, but I get along with them. And you see that he's slowly caring about these people, which you haven't seen in the previous 5 volumes. So she kisses him, bites off his tongue. I mean, you knew she was going to betray him. That was set up at the end of Volume 5. You knew the betrayal was going to happen. But the way it does, and then when she transforms into her devil, it is one of the coolest devils in this manga. So that chapter ends where she has cut off his hand. So her devil, she can basically, it looks like she can shoot pieces of her, which in the other chapter it's about to get real, but shoot pieces of her and they explode. Like, she's basically TNT. Her body is TNT. So she's cutting off his hand. He gets saved by Beam. And that's how that chapter ends. So the next chapter, Beam gets Denji to Aki. Which I believe it's Aki. I might be butchering that name, but you know who I'm talking about. Swordman. And he's with Half Devil. And they're with, like, his vice captain. And so they're in this training facility. Beam gets him there. And Aki's like, what? But before that, it's brought up again that Aki has a very limited time before he dies. This is important later on here in this volume. But it's brought up that he has limited time. He's going to die soon, which is talked about in Volume 4 and 5. I think both volumes, maybe even 3 it's brought up. But they're just leaving those breadcrumbs to pay off later on. So Reze falls him there, and she tries to be like the cute girl that she is. They're not falling for it. She explodes her own head, throws it into the facility, and it explodes. You heard that right. She throws her own head as a grenade. Wild. It's wild. So that chapter leaves off with Aki taking Denji and Beam, and they're on the run from Reze trying to get out of there, and the vice captain and Nomo, the guy that Aki was training with earlier, they're trying to hold her off at the gate, and she is messing them up. Like, not messing around, she is whooping them. That chapter ends with Reze jumping in front with both heads, just holding it there. And Denji's finally getting revived because Angel Devil's helping him with some blood, even though she doesn't want to, but she does it for Aki. The next chapter, he transforms, and he's just like, it's pretty funny. He's like, why does every girl want to murder me? Why? It's like, dude, look who you're hanging out with. These are not girls that are gonna like you for you. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's not gonna happen. So then that's about 3 chapters into the book. He's transformed into Chainsaw Man. She's transformed to her devil. And they just start going at it. And it is... You're about to see on screen. It is some of the craziest art and action stuff that I've seen. In the chapter when they're battling, even one of the characters comments the absurdity of what's about to happen. Because he gets on Beam because he has seen Reze like use the explosion to travel, and the sword devil was using his swords to travel. He's like, I can do this. He hops on Beam, who is transformed into a giant shark. So it's Chainsaw Man riding a giant shark with his blades like on the building as they're battling. And Beam's just like, this is absurd. What is happening? This is so absurd. It's so good. It's so good. And this is also the chapter that Angel Devil, what I was talking about earlier, she picks up a dying person and says, you're going to die, but she feeds the blood to Denji because he's very battle damaged from Reze. And it shows that she's growing a little bit, which pays off in the final chapter. I'll get to it. But it does show her like growing a little bit. And it's just such a good battle. Like, I'm not going to give away all the battles. It's hard to give away the battle without just like reading it and looking at it. And it's just A+. Another little breadcrumb that they give Angel Devil is, so she's about to kind of, there's a big explosion or there's something sucking them in, and she's about to go, and Aki grabs her by the shirt, and she goes, just let me go. If it's my time, it's my time. And so he loses grip on the shirt but grabs her hand, and she goes, why did you do that? And he's like, how long did it take off my life? And it took an extra 2 months off his life. They're really trying to kill this guy. Like, by the end of volume 10, he's going to have like 2 minutes left. But when she gets let go, there's just a quick panel image of a character. That's it. That's all they give you. Just a little taste. Just a little taste. So I think she's really going to have an interesting character arc upcoming. The second to last chapter, they're on this roof, and Chainsaw Man Denji wraps her around in his chains because now he has both his arms cut off, but chains are able to come out. Wraps her around and jumps into the lake off this building. So they wash up, transform back into humans. And Reze asks, why'd you save me? And he was like, because I felt like if I didn't, I would have something caught in the back of my throat. It's showing that he's growing emotionally. And it's just such a good scene of, it's just them talking. And she's like, I lied. Like, all the blushes and everything, well, that was fake, man. Like that, you're a fool to think that. And he said, well, I like you. And I think I just can't kill you. Kind of like I think you deserve a second chance. And she takes off, and he's like, meet me at a cafe at noon tomorrow. I'll be there. That's very important for this final chapter, because it's about to hit you. I'm hoping that you've read it because you're listening to these spoilers. If not, read it first before I spoil this, because it's good. All right, the final chapter, the biggest spoiler. Reze is about to get on a train, take off. It's the next day. She doesn't get on the train. She's running to meet Denji. You catch a glimpse of Denji sitting at the cafe with flowers. There's a little panel. Makima comes, talks about the field mice and the country mice and all that, and takes her out with the help of Angel Devil. And Makima said, I told you to bring Aki. And Angel Devil said, I'm not going to put him through killing a girl. Showing that she's growing. She really grew a lot in this volume. And it ends with Makima killing Reze. And we go to Denji sitting in the cafe with flowers. And then the owner comes and says, we're going to close because he's been sitting there all day since noon. The door creaks open. And you're like, did she survive? It's power. And she comes jumping in. They have this funny thing where she starts eating his flowers. And he's like, what? And that's it. That's how the volume ends. The way that they balanced big action and hitting you with that little bit of emotion and character growth and a little bit of sprinkle of Angel Devil and Makuma makes me so excited for the future of this series and the next volume, because it's hard for a shonen, especially like a gory shonen, to actually hit you with emotion. And I think it did character growth. I think this volume had everything from great action, great comedy things, and great character moments. It makes it, if not my favorite volume, at least top 2. So yeah, that was my ramble. And I know, hopefully you've read it before you watch the spoilers. It'd be weird if you're just watching spoilers. But thank you for watching to the end of the video and me rambling about this amazing manga. I hope you enjoyed it, reading it just as much as I did. And let's talk about it in the comments. You know, tell me your favorite part. Tell me if it emotionally hit you like it hit me, because I was not ready for that freight train of emotion to come at the end of it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.